Eugenia Cooney has been a widely known figure on the internet for a long time. Initially, she began streaming on YouNow and later began making videos on YouTube about fashion, makeup, her life, or pretty much anything she felt like. Today, she mainly makes makeup and cosplay videos and her channel has over 2 million subscribers. Plus, she has over 100,000 followers on Twitch where she streams almost every day. It's rare for somebody who's been online as long as Eugenia to avoid controversy, and that is certainly true for her as well. However, Eugenia has become one of the most contested YouTubers on the platform. Today we're going to be taking a look at why Eugenia Cooney is as controversial as she is, as well as looking at how we got here and the potentially vital role that commentary and tea channels have played in getting us to this point.
People are able to say and do anything about her, and just because you don't like her, people are willing to believe it.
In support of the petition to deplatform Eugenia Cooney.
How are you so nice?
Eugenia Cooney is not a nice person.
We can't do anything just by yelling at her through our videos. It's not going to happen. It's not going to work.
You are a disgusting human being.
How many videos can you make on a person before concern becomes exploitation?
Everyone just comes to my streams like putting way to attack me lately, okay?
For this series, I really wanted to talk to as many people as possible, and that includes the people who the episodes are about. So I've just sat down at my desk and I am about to have a call with Eugenia Cooney so that we can hear a lot of her opinions straight out of her own mouth, instead of trying to piece together what she thinks about everything. To be honest, I don't really know what to expect because all I know about her is what people say online and what she portrays online. So I have no idea how this is going to go, what it's going to be like to actually speak to her. It's also always really weird when you meet people that you only know from watching them online, because they could be completely different. And half the time, you know, they're not the same. But she's just joined, so I'm gonna let her into the waiting room and turn this off till we actually start the interview. Hi Eugenia, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing good. How are you? My name's Eugenia. I make videos and stream and do that kind of thing. So yeah.
Eugenia is somebody who has had a lot of videos made about her. She has had countless people questioning every aspect of her life and her online presence. And as a result, there's been a lot of theories made about her, some of which we will go into more detail on later. But for now, I want to take a look at some people's thoughts on whether there is any validity to the speculation at all, as well as to try and determine how we got here. What started it all?
The problem with Eugenia Cooney is mainly the speculation that goes on about her.
She posted a video the other day about her shoe collection, but there were some things in that video that people took notice of. Now, obviously in this video, it's to show off her shoe collection, but she does angles that shows a little bit more than her shoes. Is it possible that this could be the case? Is it possible that Eugenia is taking donations to do this type of content to show off her body?
We can't do anything just by yelling at her through our videos. It's not going to happen. It's not going to work.
I do say purposely because I do not believe this was unintentional or that she didn't realize what she was doing. This is clearly a desperate and pathetic attempt by Eugenia and her mother to try to bring some more controversy and more views to her channel, because exploiting Eugenia's condition doesn't seem to be doing it anymore.
I think Eugenia's being milked when there's literally nothing to milk, right? But you squeeze, and her name, I guess, can still bring in clicks, so that's all that matters. I mean, people, when you look for a problem long enough, you're gonna find it. And that's not to say that there's no problem with Eugenia Cooney. Like, obviously, she's going through something, but that's very personal. But sometimes people will dig and the way you see people react in their comments, I don't know.
I would definitely say that when it comes to like hate with me on the internet, that like it definitely kind of did get worse over time with me being online.
Nasty chicken bone I can't imagine what her looks like.
When I first joined, I think there's kind of always going to be those people that are going to hate in you and kind of make fun of you, like no matter what you do, and just kind of find things to pick on. But then I think I would say like when there was kind of like certain YouTubers that kind of started like making videos about me and kind of like villainizing me to be like this like, you know, bad person or whatever. then I would say that's kind of like when the narrative changed to just kind of like, there'd be some trolls that would kind of make like some like troll kind of comments to like people like actually like really attacking me, and just like kind of being, I'd say, like on a different level of hateful and just like a lot more. So
I've made a lot of videos about Eugenia Cooney, trying to help her. And that was great, but she didn't get help. There's no way I can help her, really. But the other side of me, my comedian side, isn't done. I have a split personality. So today, let's make Eugenia Cooney and WWE 2K18. Female, right?
I'm taking bets on when that pile of bones you call a body is going to fall apart. I have $100 on you being dead within a week. I don't know how to respond to that, so I'm just going to be fake polite.
You would definitely be someone that made a lot of videos, and I'd say like that kind of started, honestly, like a lot of like where like the real hate came in. When he started making a lot of videos for me, honestly, it would be really stressful because I would just kind of feel like suddenly all these people would just kind of be against me. Some of them would even be like viewers of mine before that like, never really had problems with me before, didn't seem to think I was a bad person or anything like that. And then suddenly I would just be getting like so much more attacks when I do like even like a live stream or anything. People would just like be coming in, like being really mean. And he would kind of also be like encouraging people to like unsubscribe, to like not watch me, to like, dislike my videos and all that. And that's kind of like when, I guess like a lot more that happened, and it would just kind of make me feel really bad because I just feel like I was never and never am like trying to do anything like bad or like be a bad person or anything like that. And it just seemed like a lot of people like having that stance in me or whatever was like really sudden. So I just kind of feel like it can like stress you out a lot and just like really not make you feel good, especially when it's all just suddenly like so much and it's happening so suddenly. I was bullied in school a lot, and honestly in school, like that was definitely like a hard time too. Just because like, I guess, it's never fun for anybody to go through that. And in some ways, I guess it kind of would feel like a little bit similar, like getting a lot of hate online as well. Because I mean, I guess like at first, like I actually like just kind of started homeschooling because I was like, oh, I don't have to like deal with so much of this. And that's kind of actually when I started making videos and streaming and doing all that. And, the internet, it's like, of course, there's going to be some mean people, but I feel like it's, I didn't have to like deal with like as much hate as like maybe I deal with in school or like whatever. So, yeah, I'd say like in some ways it kind of can be a little bit similar because suddenly like there's just all these people just being super mean and you're just really not trying to do anything wrong, and yeah, it's not always very fun.
At the time, Onision was definitely not the only person talking about Eugenia and making fun of her in videos. In fact, there were quite a lot of creators doing similar things. Still, Onision's videos seemed to get the most attention. Maybe this was because he arguably put out a much higher numbers of videos on her, or maybe it had to do with him being much harsher in the way that he spoke about her. Whatever the reason, this resulted in more and more people catching wind of Eugenia's channel, causing more videos to be made about her and more hate to be sent her way. She was being sent threatening DMs, receiving comments telling her things like "you're a waste of human life," and had people coming into her YouNow streams with the sole purpose of telling her what a terrible person she is. People really felt that they could say whatever they wanted to her, and they justified it under the guise of helping. As we'll see later on, this was something that never really stopped. But really, why did people feel so justified in making so many videos about her and making so many negative comments about her too? To understand that, we need to address people's biggest concern with Eugenia, and that is that they claim she is promoting unhealthy behaviours and harming her audience. It goes without saying that this, of course, is yet again another contested opinion about Eugenia, with some people saying that she's just living her life and doing the best that she can. And people on that side of the argument would also say that existing on the internet is not the same as promoting harmful behaviour.
I understand people's concern for her and concern for her fans, because I do think to some extent she is promoting quite a dangerous lifestyle, if that makes sense. Like in the same way, if you saw someone abusing drugs in front of you on screen every day, like on Twitch or wherever you're live streaming or YouTube videos, and you could see that they were damaging their body by doing like drugs, for example, I think it would be absolutely fair to talk about it and not necessarily call them out for it, but try and encourage them to get some help. I think that's fair. But at the same time, she's a human and she's clearly struggling with stuff. And I've had my own share of like mental health problems, and I'm not sure I'd want strangers discussing it publicly to that extent. So I think she does deserve her privacy in that respect as well. So it's hard to know where to draw the line and what's appropriate and what isn't. Because sometimes you can be concerned for someone and be acting in their best interests, and it can still hurt that person's feelings. So it's hard to understand what the best thing to do in this situation is. And because like commentary channels and drama channels and everything like this are so new, there's no rule book. We don't know what is objectively right and wrong. We just kind of have to figure it out as we go. And it's very, very difficult.
It boils down to she's anorexic, therefore, you know, her content's pro is essentially what it boils down to, the argument. And it's like, well, there's some, you know, it needs to be there. There needs to be something she's doing or saying that's pro before I'm willing to make that next step. There needs to be evidence. There's no evidence with the narrative, I guess, is my big problem with it.
I understand the idea of it, that it could be problematic in teaching younger girls to feel a certain way about their image, their body, so on and so forth. But I think it's kind of shitty that we're kind of focusing on one person on YouTube. If we should probably focus on the idea of let's just have body positivity all around the board, if that makes sense. Because women and girls can feel a certain way about their body. I feel a certain way about my body by going on Instagram.
We're constantly bombarded with seemingly perfect images in our Instagram feeds. And Facebook research shows it's taking its toll on young teens.
You know, it's not just Eugenia, it's a bigger picture. And I think that if we have more creators come out and talk about their body and how they're positively, you know, showing that they're curves and they're this and they're natural and they're acne and all these things, that's where you're going to make more stride and more movement than just trying to get Eugenia Cooney off the internet.
There is no Eugenia Cooney problem as far as like her going after people or doing problematic things other than existing, and hence influencing people to be like her by nature inherently, right? I mean, that would be the argument that I've seen against her, that she is influencing people. Like that's what Pastel Bell said, at least, like, you know, by her saying like, oh, I'm okay, then she's saying that it's okay to look like me.
Which brings us to the subject of YouTube's largest pro-content creator, Eugenia Cooney. And yes, I did refer to her as a pro-content creator because despite the facade of doing makeup tutorials, cosplay, and clothing haul videos, what Eugenia Cooney is really pushing is and a very dangerous pro-agenda that is actively harming not just herself, but vulnerable young fans in her community.
She's been boogeyman into this person where your kids watch her and then your kids become and it's just, that's insane. It's just not true, you know? Like, one, she's just not responsible for your kids. Man, a whole bunch of things are being made about that, where it's sort of like the Salem witch trial, you know? Everyone's terrified of this thing that's just not necessarily happening, you know? Because there's a couple cases where people have come forward and have, you know, had some bad triggers with her. That doesn't necessarily mean that the majority of our audience is that way, or that's happening to everyone who watches her.
I'm not saying anything attacking anybody. I'm not giving any strong opinions, but I feel like I could rile people up by not having a strong opinion, ironically enough, because I'm not, you know, being completely against Eugenia Cooney, or earlier I wasn't completely against Gabby Hanna. I feel that being on the fence or not against them, that's gonna get me hate. Like, that's how strong it is, you know? And I think that is a result, an effect of the perpetuating videos that just come. you know?
Some would say that there is a major issue with the number of videos that have been made about Eugenia. Along with these videos potentially creating a divide in audience, creating a sort of you're either with us or against us mentality, these videos also have the potential to create more drama. It has been argued that when one person makes a video on a topic, the next person who wants to cover that same topic will have to add their own spin or their own addition to the story in order to make it more appealing to an audience and get clicks and views. Therefore, with every video that's made, more and more obscure theories are being created in order to keep the conversation interesting. So on and on it goes as the speculation increases.
With a lot of the kind of conspiracy theories that have started about me, it's like the strangest thing sometimes because some of them are just so crazy and there's just no truth to them. So it's just really strange seeing like these people believe this stuff.
So, what are these so-called conspiracy theories? One of the biggest of all of these is centered around Eugenia's makeup box. In some of her Twitch streams, Eugenia would lift up her makeup box and move it away from her couch, claiming that she'd forgotten to move it earlier. And during some of these occasions, she received donations in her streams at the same time as her moving the box. Many channels have claimed that this is not a case of being forgetful and that she's actually doing this in order to show off her body. Some channels have even gone as far as to say that Eugenia has secret deals going on with some of her viewers because they want to see her struggling to lift things. Therefore, she will lift the box and move it away in order to appeal to these people and get donations from them. However, others have stated that these theories do not take some very important information into account. Firstly, Eugenia streams almost every day, and sometimes these streams go on for up to 8 or 9 hours. So when you compile all these clips together of her moving this makeup box, yes, it does look like a lot. However, when you compare it to the amount of time that she's actually streaming, it's really not that often. Secondly, Eugenia receives a lot of donations in the many hours that she streams for, and a lot of these donations seem to happen at pretty non-eventful times. Likewise, there's been many times where she's moved the makeup box and not received any donations.
And then one day, we just have to like find the right place. We want to find like a magical like castle or something.
Because of this, a lot of people think that it's just a coincidence that she's happened to receive some donations while moving a makeup box, and they claim that this narrative is just being pushed because of the nature of drama videos.
There's definitely been people that have made videos where they'll kind of like try to like use a bunch of clips that kind of like work to kind of like push their narrative or whatever. And like, you know, example, like the makeup box thing, it's kind of like, okay, like, yeah, I have like a makeup box where I keep a bunch of my eyeshadow palettes. I do my makeup like literally on that like white couch over there. So it kind of makes sense for me to move it over to, you know, do makeup and all that. And sometimes I just don't have the best memory. So it's like, I just like kind of forget, and then I'm just streaming and I'm like, oh, you know, that's probably not in the most convenient spot. So I just kind of like move it back, and to me, it's just like moving a box. It's just kind of like, you know, sometimes people move things, like you move your phone or move whatever. And what I think like what some people don't understand, because they'll be like, oh, that's proof because she got like 100 bits here. Oh, can I have my makeup thing? I should probably move this, sorry. Thanks for your bits. The thing is, it's like, I don't know if maybe some of these people don't maybe understand how Twitch works, but 100 bits is equivalent to like $1, which I'm really grateful for. Like, I'm grateful for, you know, any donations people make, but I've gotten like far bigger donations, like just sitting down, not doing anything. 100,000 bits? It's literally like just a coincidence. It's like, and sometimes there's donations like throughout the stream. So it's kind of like sometimes it just kind of seems like people will pick and choose.
Another theory which gained a lot of traction stemmed from Eugenia's video showing off her shoe collection. In this video, she is sitting down, showing the shoes, and at some points you can briefly see her underwear. Though some thought this was purely coincidental, most people thought that she was doing this on purpose. And naturally, commentary channels did start to cover this, and started claiming as 100% fact that Eugenia was doing this on purpose for shock value and for views.
Now, supposedly this is a shoe haul video, but no one really believed that. Everyone knows what she is trying to do at this point, and no one is falling for it anymore.
Shoe? This is what it looks like on?
Not only that, but some even claimed that her mother helped her to orchestrate the entire thing.
And I say they because it was not just Eugenia, but Eugenia's mom as well.
And what was their proof of this? They claimed that Eugenia had purposefully matched her eyeshadow to her underwear, which were apparently both pink.
Another reason we know that this was not an accident is because her underwear and her eyeshadow matched. They were the same color. She was wearing a plaid red outfit and her underwear was pink, and it looked like her eyeshadow was pink as well.
However, this was later questioned, with people wondering why she would even match the colors in the first place. And later on, Willie Mack pointed out that the colors didn't even match at all, and in fact her eyeshadow was red, which matched her red dress.
If you take the image into Photoshop and sample the colors, it's red. The underwear is pink. It does not match. You can delete this slanderous video now.
When asked about the situation in live streams, Eugenia stated that she didn't notice it and it was purely accidental. However, since it's been pointed out to her, she doesn't feel the need to take it down because she doesn't really see the problem with it and doesn't really care.
Like the underwear with the eyeshadow thing, that was one thing I was like really surprised about, because I was kind of like, who does that? Like, how would I have ever even thought to have done that? And I don't know, like sometimes just like, I guess a lot of the stuff, it's like, it's so ridiculous to me, and it's like, my mind wouldn't even like go there.
So we have to ask then, was it accidental? And either way, is it a big deal? After all, we're in an age where women are fighting to reclaim control over their bodies, with bikini and lingerie try-on hauls becoming more and more commonplace. The argument is that Eugenia may be intentionally or unintentionally catering to people who want to see her specific body type. But many people have pointed out there are some flaws with this, because the same is not being said for overweight creators who make videos showing their bodies.
They're not keeping the same energy because they're not talking about the other side of people obese and all those sorts of things, mukbangs, all that sort of stuff. They're also not talking about certain things that happen when you go on Instagram. You see Instagram models, like they're not seeing everything. They're just pointing their arrows at one thing, and if people don't voice what they voice, they don't want to hear it.
So here's the tweet in question. It says, being different isn't a bad thing. It means you're brave enough to be yourself, with a blue heart and a blue butterfly. This is in correlation to her outfit, which is blue. The blue butterfly is clear pro symbol. I don't know how people don't see this. She's afflicted by a situation that's very, very widely known. And she's used this butterfly multiple times.
Let's look now at one more theory which became a huge talking point amongst commentary channels and people who want Eugenia off the internet: the blue butterfly emoji. The blue butterfly theory is one that many people stopped believing. However, for a while it was constantly used as proof that Eugenia was purposefully promoting harmful behaviors. So what is this theory? Essentially, on some online forums, the blue butterfly is used as a pro symbol. And therefore, people concluded that Eugenia must be using this butterfly emoji to signal that community. This is something that people would bring up over and over in their videos about her and their comments to her and in her Twitch streams. More recently though, people have been questioning the validity of this theory, claiming that maybe Eugenia just likes butterflies, as she said, or perhaps she just didn't know that it was a symbol of this kind of thing, because a lot of people don't know, including people in the community.
You know, I see tons of people post butterfly emojis. A lot of people just like butterflies. And that's all it is with me. Like, it doesn't have like any kind of meaning. So I don't know. It's just a little weird sometimes. I guess people like analyzing so much when a lot of time there's really nothing there to analyze. Like, it's just a lot simpler than it seems, I guess, to some people.
Another piece of the puzzle that's been connected to the butterfly theory is the idea that Eugenia is toxically positive. She's so positive that it's causing harm.
Everybody says Eugenia is a great person. She's so positive. She just spreads positivity. Like, how could you hate on somebody as sweet as Eugenia? I do not think Eugenia is a good person. I think it's a facade, and if you watch her content and listen to the way that she talks, she tries so hard to be positive and don't spread hate, love everybody. You don't know what somebody is going through.
I just want to talk about the fact that Eugenia Cooney is not a nice person, right? And I'm just tired of this narrative that, like, she's so sweet, she's so good-hearted, she's so kind, she's so loving, she's so nice.
How are you so nice?
Like, she is not nice, she is not sweet, she's not a good person.
Attached to this photo, she has a caption that says, what you think about yourself is more important than what others think of you. So in this photo, it seems like on the surface, it's about like positivity and self-love and self-care and things like that, which are great and wonderful things. However, I have a hard time believing that this caption is about loving yourself and wanting to take care of yourself.
She's extremely positive and like, you know, just always looking at the glass half full to the point where you almost like, you almost feel bad. But, you know, others might call this toxic positivity, which I feel like when I heard Pastel say that concept, I felt like she was like implying that she's fake positive, which I'm sorry, but she's not. Like, Eugenia is one of those people that, like, there's something wrong with her in a good way, in that she's always so positive.
So why do people perpetuate these theories? People seem to have their own ideas as to why. Clearly, some people do believe that all of these theories are true and that commentary channels are doing a fantastic job of calling out problematic behavior. Others who may not necessarily believe all the theories think that these commentary channels definitely do believe them and are trying to help. So it's not really a bad thing that they're trying to bring light to something that they believe is causing a lot of harm. Besides all that though, there are obviously those who do not believe that these channels have good intentions at all, at least for the most part, and they cite personal grievances, the desire for more views, or just wanting to have a villain to talk about as the reason that they make so many videos on Eugenia. But what's the real reason? Why do we make so many videos about Eugenia Cooney?
Honestly, I know a lot of time maybe I shouldn't watch some of the videos made about me, because I feel like sometimes when you're just kind of watching all this negative stuff about you, it doesn't always feel that great. But I also kind of feel like at the same time, like it's kind of hard not to sometimes, because you're just kind of curious about what's being said, and also you have like your viewers and some of these other people kind of like mentioning this stuff to you, and it makes you curious. And you're kind of curious, like weirder stuff is like starting, like why do people think this now or that now? So honestly, a lot of time I will watch stuff.
I think that there's a lot of, you know, a lot of projection from certain creators, a lot of people wanting to have that salacious story. If I speak about specific creators that are doing it, I honestly feel like Pastel Bell or Belle Aubrey, I don't think she has bad intentions. And I say that honestly. I just feel like she's very close to the topic and she's very triggered by it. And I think that she's got it in her mind that it affects her, and she's thinking and projecting that in her videos.
Like, I remember the old Onision content that was just purely mocking her and making fun of her. Like, there's no way that's okay, and I think we can all agree on that. But it's hard to know where the line is drawn between education and exploitation. So it's difficult to say. It's like, how many videos can you make on a person before concern becomes exploitation? I don't know.
Like with some of these people, I guess sometimes it's a little bit hard to know if they like actually believe what they're posting, or if they just kind of want to like put it out there to like fit their narrative and kind of to, I guess, like kind of like villainize me in some ways. And I mean, I guess I can't really like 100% speak for like what goes through their minds. But sometimes I kind of do feel like some of this stuff is just so far-fetched, and it kind of just seems like so like, you know, like it's so like selective with like what they choose to try to like, I guess, use as like evidence, that I kind of will honestly question sometimes if some of these people actually believe like what they're saying. And I also kind of feel like sometimes, like, you know, they see that posting about me and posting like some of this crazy stuff and using like these like dramatic titles and thumbnails, it's like, it kind of gets them views. And I think like sometimes that also very well could play a part in it, is like they see that they're getting a lot of attention off of it. So even if like they gotta say the most crazy thing, they'll just kind of do it anyway.
The The speculation is not just limited to Eugenia herself though. Over the years, her family have come under scrutiny by people online who believe that they're either actively harming her or just neglecting her. As such, theories about them have also cropped up, and in particular, her mother seems to be the biggest topic of conversation in that respect. Many people claim that Eugenia's mother is mistreating her, but there doesn't seem to be any actual evidence of that. In lieu of that, they point to the testimony from Jacqueline Glenn.
Eugenia's mom is a dangerous person.
Random clips of her mother or their interactions together which have been taken out of context.
Can you turn it down that way for me? Oh, yeah. Yeah, sure.
The fact that Eugenia didn't know how to drive until recently.
I know she can't drive a car, she doesn't have a driver's license, she said it herself, can't really do anything without her mother's permission.
Eugenia being confused by the locks on one of her doors in the Shane documentary.
Is there any more locks?
Tarot readings.
The page of cups being reversed means that Eugenia does not enjoy anything that's going on.
Thank you, Psychic, and we'll be hearing more from you in a minute. Period poo, you can't change the stars.
And other things like that. And unfortunately, people point to these things as hard evidence instead of what they are. Picked apart pieces of information about her family which could actually mean anything. Despite all these theories though, Eugenia has stated time and time and again throughout her entire career that she has a good family and a good mother. So is there any merit to the speculation? And more importantly, do we have any right to speculate at all?
When you speculate about somebody like Dream cheating in Minecraft, right, that's not a big deal. Right? That doesn't matter, right? If he cheats in Minecraft or not, then who cares? Or John Swan lied, right? Who cares whether he lied or not, right? It's just a meme. But when you're speculating about whether her mom's being abused, and there isn't evidence, and you're using these like clips that don't really prove anything one way or the other, that's when that's where the narrative is going wrong.
I would definitely say, you know, like with a lot of stuff with my family and kind of those like conspiracies about them, that's something I'll kind of like especially feel bad to see, because I just kind of feel like a lot of people are like drawing these crazy conclusions when they don't really know them. And especially with my mom, like, you know, like obviously she's someone that is kind of, I'd say like the biggest target to hate in my family. And, you know, she's always just been a great mom to me. And it's so funny because like people meet her in person and always say how nice she is. And then it's kind of just like, I feel like online, like a lot of people judge her and kind of pick her apart, like without really knowing her like at all. So that's something that I will feel really, really bad about, because like, you know, I just don't feel like she deserves that, or like my family deserves that. Like if they want to find problems with me, it's like, that's one thing, but I feel like there's really no reason to kind of go after them without, you know, knowing them, and they're not really the ones that are like, you know, making videos or things like that. And it's like my mom didn't really like sign up to be a YouTuber. It's like sometimes she'll be down to like be in a video with me or whatever, but I don't know. I just kind of feel like sometimes people are like looking into things with her and like with them, or like there's really like nothing bad to look into at all. Like they have kind of come across stuff. And there was a time like with my mom where, you know, she was actually like kind of upset and hurt about things, just kind of because, you know, like she knows who she is as a person. She knows so many of the things said about her are just not true, and there's just like no truth to them like whatsoever. So it's just kind of like, you know, then I feel bad that like, you know, it would make her upset and have like a bad effect on her. I mean, at this point, you know, she kind of knows like how the internet is. Like a lot of times she'll tell me to like not pay attention to some of this like crazy stuff, because, you know, sometimes I think if you really let it, it will like really can affect people badly. So, you know, at this point, like they just kind of try to not get too affected by it and not to really look at it too much and not let it affect them. But so yeah, you know, they just kind of like, I guess like do try to just kind of like stay as unaffected as they can by it now. But yeah, it's like sometimes people even will go like kind of far trying to like, you know, track down like information about them or about where like we live or just like crazy things like that. So I mean, I don't know, sometimes that's a little scary too. Like feel bad they would have to deal with that at all too. So yeah.
Whatever way you spin it, digging into somebody's family can not only hurt the family members themselves, but it's also a clear violation of privacy. Sadly, it does seem like some people online feel they're entitled to know every single piece of information about online creators and influencers.
dyslexia is usually brought about in someone's life due to an emotional problem or trauma. A clue to Eugenia's mind can be found in her now deleted Draw My Life video.
We need to ask, at what point do we draw the line with asking for answers from online creators? And by asking such invasive questions, are we doing more harm than good?
So I guess sometimes when people are kind of like almost like expecting you to give them like any information that they want about you, and even like really personal stuff, and you know, I guess just kind of like always expecting that. Sometimes it can definitely feel like a little bit uncomfortable, and just like feel like, I guess, like kind of weird like that. You know, people are just kind of always expecting that. And, you know, it's like, I'm not at all trying to say that people can't have like their own like opinions on me or like whatever. But it is kind of like, sometimes I feel like it can kind of go like a little bit far. And like sometimes it's like when they just keep getting mad at you because maybe you won't like answer every single question like they feel like entitled to know or whatever, and then like sometimes people will say like you're gaslighting because you're not doing that, or like you're, you know, you're like, I don't know, they just kind of like try to make you into like the bad guy for not like maybe answering everything they want you to answer. So sometimes that's a little scary, and I guess like you feel bad that you can't make them happy, but at the same time, like you don't always like maybe want to put like every single detail of your life like out there for the internet all the time. I definitely think that with a lot of the videos that have been made about me, that it kind of does lead a lot of people to come to a lot more conclusions about you and expect more from you. And, you know, just kind of get mad at you maybe when you're not giving them the info that they want or answering kind of way they want you to, or just like whatever. And I definitely will notice that sometimes like, you know, people maybe won't be like asking me about certain things or accusing me of certain things or just like whatever. And then suddenly this video gets made and people like suddenly there's all these people that are, you know, getting mad at me, accusing me of things, like asking me like all these questions. If I don't answer it the way they want me to, then I'm wrong. And I would definitely say it can increase the amount of that for sure.
Along with the speculation about her personal life, there is one topic that comes up a lot in regard to Eugenia, and it has to do with her Discord server.
Even last year, I was telling Rebzilla, dude, you're going too far with this whole like Discord thing.
I have no other choice but to believe that everything else she said is either half-truths or not true at all.
There was this drama that happened like in 2018, and I showed him stuff, and I even I tried to facilitate things with the YouTuber Tamimi, and like she made a fantastic video on it. And now it's like being brought up again, and you know, now with Pastel Bell.
There doesn't seem to be any kind of accountability from Eugenia or any of her other mods.
It's just these creators don't want to like realize they're wrong.
Eugenia, like a lot of other YouTubers, had a Discord server where people in her community could chat. However, a couple of years ago, some serious issues with it came to light. It turns out there was a couple of sketchy people in there, some of which were moderators, and they had privately messaged people to say inappropriate things. Unfortunately, Eugenia was not immediately aware of this issue, but as soon as she was, anybody that was problematic was removed. The issue now is that this story has been covered so many different ways throughout the years, so much so that most people don't actually know what really happened. And because of the narrative that some people have pushed, many people think that Eugenia was actually facilitating the whole thing.
With the Discord situation, you know, it's kind of like a complex thing that I've also kind of tried explaining in the past online at this point. And you know, like it's kind of crazy because that happened like years ago with like the main situation with that at this point. And you know, of course, like I'm always sorry for like any bad situations that do happen online, but it's just kind of like where some people will try to like make it into this thing that like I was purposely moderating like terrible people and having people go after people. That's something like I would absolutely never do. And when that situation did come up with like a moderator that ended up being like really not a good person, first of all, I would have never wanted that person to begin with if I knew any of that. And when I found it out, it was like really disturbing. Obviously I wanted to like make sure that was true and like see what was up with that. Like I was very confused. But as soon as like I, you know, came across something that, you know, it definitely looked like that was accurate, I removed that person like within like 3 days. Well, right once I found out, it was like right away removed. But it's like, you know, like it was like 3 days before I heard like something and I was just lost. And then once like I came across, like I was like, oh no, that's bad. Like I removed him like right away. So it's just kind of like, that was something that, you know, I just kind of tried to deal with like the best that I could. And with other situations, sometimes it's just a little bit difficult because there'll kind of be people like blaming me for things that happen in people's like private messages, which the thing is, it's just like I can't really always know what's going on in DMs. And sometimes it can just be kind of really hard and confusing. Like, you know, I guess like keeping up with things like in general. Yeah, and with some of like that stuff that happens in like direct messages and stuff like that, it's just kind of like, I guess I just kind of wish people would realize sometimes that, of course, like I'm sorry that that kind of stuff ever happens, period. But I'm not even able to like see people's private DMs. I don't always know every single thing that's going on. And it's kind of also like, you know, essentially like a bad person could go into anybody's stream, they could watch any video. And sadly, I kind of just think, unfortunately, that's just kind of the internet, is sometimes there's going to be bad people out there, which is really unfortunate. But definitely I've never tried to like purposely put anyone into any bad kind of situation or like protect bad people or anything like that. And yeah, with Maud, it's like once I found out that he was a bad person, I got rid of him like right away. And I've tried explaining that to people, but sometimes it seems like people still want to like, you know, make that into something it just isn't.
But because this is a topic that still comes up in drama videos, a lot of people don't realize that the server was deleted. And because of that, they think that this is still an ongoing issue, with Eugenia being the mastermind behind the whole thing.
And, you know, since a lot of this stuff just kind of, because it seems like with Discord, it was just like a lot to manage. And, you know, obviously I don't ever want like bad things happening to people. I think that can still happen anywhere online, like regardless if I have a Discord or don't have a Discord. But I just kind of feel like, you know, monitoring a Discord, it can kind of be a lot. So that's a whole nother thing. It's like I've deleted the Discord since then. And since, you know, a lot of people talking about that. So it's kind of just like, I don't really know like what more I can really do in the situation, but just kind of really tried to handle it the best way I can.
Because of all the controversy surrounding her, people want Eugenia to be deplatformed, meaning that she would be removed from social media entirely. And there have even been a couple of petitions going around to try and make this happen.
In support of the petition to deplatform Eugenia Cooney.
Now, I did look at the petition and I agree with it.
I've definitely seen, you know, there's been people that will make these like petitions and, you know, just really seem to want me like off my platforms. And that's something that, like, personally, I just really don't agree with, because I'm just really not for like deplatforming people, like just for, you know, like kind of like what they look like or what people's like speculations are about them or like whatever. And I don't know, I just kind of think that's kind of like a slippery slope. Like if people were to start that, like, are they going to start banning like mukbangs next? Or like, how far does it go, you know? So I just like don't really think like unless people are actually doing something like really awful that they deserve to be banned. And I know some people kind of will try to justify it and be like, well, we're doing this like not to be mean, like it's helping her, like whatever. But it really just doesn't always feel like that, because it's just like, I don't really think it would make like anyone feel good, just kind of be like, you know, like just kind of getting like all their platforms taken away from them and kind of being like banned. And I know like for me, that would just kind of make me feel like worse and like more alone. So like, yeah, I don't know. It's definitely not something I agree with.
But for someone whose career, their entire adult life, and for some of their teenage years has been social media, what would happen if that was all suddenly ripped away from them? Would it make things so much worse for them?
Honestly, if all my platforms like suddenly were to be gone, like, I don't really think it's something that I do have to worry about, because I don't feel like I'm honestly breaking any guidelines, and I've had no kind of warnings from anyone like, you know, saying like, oh, you're probably going to be banned. But it would definitely be kind of a scary thing, because I feel like it would just kind of be so sudden to just kind of have like everything taken from me, and definitely leave me in like, you know, kind of like a weird predicament and just like feeling like, what do I do now? I mean, I guess I could like, try to get unbanned, like email them and say, hey, like, I don't think I technically broke any guidelines because it doesn't say, I'm breaking any rules here. But, if the petitions were to work or whatever, it's like, I definitely like, I feel like it would leave me in like a really weird place. Like, I'm not really sure what I would do. Like, oh, definitely like, I wouldn't, I just like it definitely wouldn't leave me feeling very good.
Like Eugenia said earlier, maybe she is just doing the best she can. Having so many eyes on you at once would be hard for anyone, but being such a controversial figure, it would be hard to imagine that it wasn't causing Eugenia some kind of distress. With all the theories and speculation, the probing her for information, and the constant hate she receives online, could drama videos be negatively affecting her life? First off, we already know that she receives an obscene amount of hate comments and negative feedback.
You are a disgusting human being.
And along with that, there's also the messages that she receives.
I get like other DMs that are like very, very similar to that. Like I was literally reading some more that were very similar to that today. I get like messages like that, like on a pretty like regular basis.
And the comments she gets in her Twitch streams.
I don't really know why some of you guys are so demanding of me. Like guys, like the thing is, like you guys don't understand, okay? Like everyone just comes to my streams like literally to attack me lately, okay?
Could these things all be a direct negative result of drama videos, or are they completely unrelated?
I also have gotten like death threats and people that send me like these really messed up messages, like telling me to like kill myself, and some of them kind of going into like detail about it and just being really mean, and some of them are like very persistent. So, normally it's like I kind of like, I don't ever want to be mean back to people because like I don't really feel like anything good comes out of that, and I would never want to try to like make another person feel bad. So usually like I just kind of like don't really answer to it. And I just kind of hope like one day, hopefully some of those people find like better, more positive things to do. But it definitely can be like really hard and like, I guess just crazy sometimes seeing like people that like don't even know you, like literally like desperately want you to kill yourself. And yeah, like I guess I try to just like, not take it too seriously and not let it affect me as much as I can. But yeah, they're definitely not always like the nicest messages to read, and just really, I guess, like don't always make you feel that great.
Videos do perpetuate a certain way of thinking, and maybe they encourage like an audience to say things to her and react a certain way and kind of rod her, like in her own Twitch chats and stuff. And obviously as a creator, you wouldn't want that in your chat. And I have seen people say, wow, she bans people from her chat that try to say negative things. I mean, that's her own thing. Like she like if she's on her Twitch chat, like just playing video games or talking to people, she says she sees something she doesn't want to see, or her mods also do the same and she has no problem with it. What is the problem with it, right?
What about her mental health? Could all of this be hurting her more than it's helping?
With a lot of the harassment and hate I've seen about myself and just a lot of this stuff, there's definitely been times where it's just caused like a lot of stress on me. Just kind of because I feel like sometimes when you're seeing so much of this stuff, you just kind of feel like everyone's against you and everything you say or do is wrong. And you just kind of feel like a lot of people hate you, and I feel like sometimes like it can really just have like not the best like impact on you and like how you feel. And yeah, it can definitely be a little bit stressful sometimes.
It's become you villainized her so much and her family so much as that people are able to say and do anything about her, and just because you don't like her, people are willing to believe it.
It could be overwhelming to her to have all this eyes on her and her figure and so on and so forth. But there are some backing in the ED community that this could actually be making her continue her ED.
I think the amount of videos that are made on Eugenia do affect her as they would affect literally anybody, if you look at Pastel Belle, I can't believe she didn't agree to this. If you look at her the way she's worked up when she's responding to Willie Mack, That was him making one video, and then she's even more worked up after her response in the second video. Can you imagine how Eugenia feels, right? Like she just has to get used to it. It gets to a point where you just have to get used to it. You know, you have to build thick skin.
Definitely with some of the hate comments and videos and all that are like, I guess, like especially negative. I definitely have had that kind of like affect me pretty bad mentally. And I guess sometimes just leave you in really not the best like mental state. You know, now it's like, I guess at this point, it's like, I am pretty used to like seeing a lot of negativity and seeing a lot of stuff. So I really do try my best to not let it get to me and to stay positive, like regardless of that. And I guess not to let it get me down too much. But I really feel like still like there's always times that it still can kind of like mentally like badly affect anyone, just kind of because, you know, sometimes when you're just like constantly seeing this stuff and there's just people saying some things about you that are just like so crazy and just so like, you know, like not who you really are, and just like, you know, making somebody's like insane things up, then like there definitely can still be times that sometimes like it doesn't really make me feel great, like seeing that kind of stuff.
The conversation surrounding Eugenia is still largely negative, but with a lot of creators coming out to say that they feel she's been unfairly treated by the commentary community, she's started to receive a lot more support than she has in the past. Some people who had criticized her harshly and had potentially spread misinformation have now apologized either publicly or privately, and some people have removed their videos altogether.
I think the wrong has largely been righted, you know, like Eugenia has thanked us. There's a new perspective out there. A narrative was challenged. And I think like unanimously people kind of agree, like, yeah, this went too far. And we need to make sure I guess like the lesson I want taken away is outside of the Eugenia thing, because I think Eugenia's been vindicated largely. Because Repzilla just apologized on Twitter. Elle hasn't apologized because she's going through like a doomer arc. But I guess my thing is I want people to be more critical when allegations are put forth. Like, double check, ask questions. You know, all I did in my videos with Eugenia Cooney is look at the evidence, talk about how unsubstantial it was, and I asked questions, and that just made the whole narrative fall apart, you know?
It's been really nice lately seeing that there's been a lot of people being more supportive towards me, and people that have actually been kind of like looking at things a different way and not just kind of like blindly believing everything that somebody's like drama channels say. And it's been really nice seeing videos made that, you know, are a lot more supportive, and I just kind of think are bringing up like a lot of really good points and are, you know, just kind of showing things in like a much more like accurate way, and not just kind of, you know, making up this like super dramatic stuff that is like, you know, no truth to it. So that's something like I really, really appreciate, and I really appreciate, you know, the people that have made videos that have been so nice, and like the people watching that have been so nice. And yeah, it's been like really nice seeing that.
Many people feel that this is not the right way to go, but at the end of the day, Eugenia is a human with emotions just like everybody else, and she can be greatly affected by the way that she's portrayed online. She is more than just the speculation that surrounds her.
I just kind of feel like at the end of the day, it's like regardless of like, you know, like, you know, speculations people want to make about somebody or what they look like or like any of that, I just always think like there's more to people than just that. And yeah, like I've always been really interested in like makeup and that kind of stuff. Like I love doing that. And I've always been like really interested in fashion and just like cool clothes and outfits and things like that, and like cosplay. And I love animals. I have a dog, he's a pug, and he's like super, super sweet. He gets like very hyper, but you know, he's like such a great dog. So I really love animals. I like playing video games. I've always like, you know, like been really into that. And yeah, I guess like there's definitely like a lot more that, you know, I like doing and like interests I have. And I don't know, I guess like sometimes it seems like people just kind of want to focus on like negative stuff, but yeah, definitely like, you know, I think there's like more like to everybody than just like kind of like the negative stuff.
If you've been watching me for a while, then you know that I have done a lot of things in my past that I hate.
The thing is, like, I feel like online a lot of people, like, they'll just kind of, you know, start seeing a lot of negative things about a person and start looking at things from like so many years ago.
The word of the day is...
And I realized, Shane, you can't go and say shit like that and just throw it out there, because there are repercussions and people actually have feelings.
This is insane. This is insane. This woman is...
The demonization of psychopathy and sociopathy was just horrific in that entire series. And he used it as this like horror film cliche.
That is terrifying.
Yeah, that's hence the, like, that feeling. Like,
It's more like in the realms of cancel culture. If I just follow Shane around and every single time he makes a video, guys, he's back, and look, oh my gosh, he has way more likes than dislikes, guys. What are we doing? Let's rile up. Let's get him dislike bombed, you know?
I hope that you can see that and know that it's never too late to address it and to change.